Call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION because you deserve justice.
Some of the morning's top stories here. President Trump is set to meet with Ukraine's president at the White House on Friday. The president is considering sending Tomahawk long-range missiles to Ukraine. They'd make it easier to take the fight deeper into Russian territory, even as far as Moscow. Russia says such a move would constitute a serious escalation in the war. Back here at home, let's start with live pictures here as tens of thousands of people working for Kaiser Permanente across our state and the state of Hawaii are walking off their jobs today. This is action happening right now here in the Bay. Salaries are one of the main sticking points. Kaiser Permanente says it'll backfill positions to keep hospitals and clinics open through the week. Back to weather. This week's storm brought some of the first snow of the season to the Sierra. Our Steve Paulson says we'll see some rain on and off today through the day in the Bay Area, and the rain's expected to keep turning into snow in the Sierra. Caltrans says it's bringing in seasonal workers a couple of weeks early. Crews are already pre-treating roadways to help make sure they're ready for whatever the storm brings.
Well, now that the most of the Bay Area rainstorm has moved on through, flood advisories have now been lifted. But in other parts of California, the worst still to come. KTVU's Andre Senior's in the studio now to tell us which parts of the state are at risk for major mudslides. Andre.
Well, Dave, the storm dropped over an inch of rain across parts of the Bay Area, and now it's moving south down in Southern California. Their heaviest rain is expected today, early this morning. Evacuation warnings were already issued in advance for those living near the most recent burn scar areas, including the Palisades and Eaton fires. This is video from this morning of what's happening there now. The rain is coming down in the Palisades. Forecasters in Southern California warn it could be the strongest October storm in more than a decade. Now, part of the problem is many homeowners are in the process of rebuilding following January's fires. Now, homeowners are bracing for the storm and reinforcing their homes to protect them from floods.
Just got to make sure the mud doesn't come through as much water, get it away from the area. The house made it through the fire. We got to get it through the storms.
In February, waters rushed down onto roads into the Palisades, causing a muddy mess there. It was even strong enough to push a car into the ocean. Last night, police went door to door to just over 100 houses in the Palisades to tell the residents to leave. Now, back here in the Bay Area, flash flood warnings have been allowed to expire. Some Napa County residents got an alert on their phones yesterday about the potential for flooding. It was issued in the same region where the picket fire burned thousands of acres, raising the risk of mudslides and dangerous debris flows. The rain was heavy in the area yesterday, but luckily there was no mud or landslides.
Well, we really don't have mudslides in this area because it's very rocky, very volcanic. So the water sort of pours off the mountains.
It's always a concern, but we've had lots of rain over the years. It's not the first fire that we're healing from, and not the second or third. There's been several.
Well, nearly the entire East Bay and South Bay was under a flood advisory for part of the day yesterday, but forecasters have allowed those to expire as the storm passed. Now, Governor Newsom says a number of dozers, hand crews, rescue swimmers, and helicopters are ready to respond to potential mudslides in Southern California. We'll, of course, monitor conditions throughout the morning and keep you updated here on Mornings on 2. Over to you.
Thank you, Andre. 7:18, let's see what drivers are facing. This should be right about mid-commute, right, Sal?
Yeah, that's right. And now that it's light, it might be a little easier for people not to drive into a large puddle of water near drains. People are doing that and getting stuck, unfortunately, but it's not raining now, and that's helping. Let's go to the South Bay first. I want to show you that the South Bay commute, especially Highway 85, is kind of getting long and slow there, but there are no crashes to report. This is kind of easing in the way it normally does. San Mateo Bridge also crowded. We also do have some crowded conditions at the Bay Bridge. Again, this is nothing unusual. And on the Richmond Bridge, we have a backup that starts just west of Harbor. So yeah, we'll take routine slow traffic. Southbound 680 at North Main, there was a stalled vehicle. Traffic a little bit slower than you'd like to see it between Concord and Walnut Creek right now. It's 7:19. Let's talk about today's weather. Here's the man.
All right, Sal, thank you, sir. Our low is punching in Southern California. First severe thunderstorm warning they've had in L.A., I believe, since 2008, at least in October, that's for sure. And that is lit up in Southern California. There could easily be water spouts, maybe some tornadic activity. It is going to be a big-time show in Central California, the Valley, and also Southern California, and continuing up in the Sierra. We are on the back side of it, or the north side, but still, moisture is rotating around. Are you going to move? Uh-oh. I think it's stuck. There it goes. Phew. You can see the lightning strikes. Most of this is now down towards San Luis Obispo, Santa Maria, but the moisture wrapping back around is made for steady rain for some, especially Lake County and into Sonoma County and Mendocino, especially around Santa Rosa. You can see Santa Rosa to Hillsburg to Windsor, Cloverdale, and then into Clear Lake, Hidden Valley Lake, St. Helena, northern Napa County. So we're not done yet. That's moisture moving back in, but there's a noticeable break in much cooler temperatures. Peninsula, Santa Clara Valley, and also in the Santa Cruz Mountains with a lot of 40s. So for today, if you're north, better opportunity for measurable rain, much more than south, although scattered showers and thunderstorms are certainly possible later today. 30s up in the mountains, kind of a heavy wet snow. Should start to get some totals here in about an hour. Winter storm warning continues, though, until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Oakland's at 49. Half Moon Bay's down to 41. Menlo Park, 43. 40s now for Fremont, Hayward, San Carlos, Sunnyvale. Martinez, one observation there at 45. That's cool. This will be a huge deal in Southern California today, also in the Sierra, and then as it moves east, as it goes about 24 hours out of the picture. Could be a weak system brushing us late Sunday into early Monday. I do think we'll start to get a little bit of a break here for about 10 days to 2 weeks before rain returns. Tuesday afternoon showers. Now rain continues north and east, but scattered showers, mix of sun clouds and scattered showers later today. 60s, 50s on the temps. We will get a break, though. It looks nice Thursday, Friday, Saturday before clouds start to roll in, I think, Sunday evening.
Thank you, Steve. 7:21, Governor Newsom vetoes legislation that would have given preference in college admissions to descendants of enslaved people. Well, he declined to sign this particular reparations bill.
Also, some people who suffered with what's called long COVID said they were in a mental fog that lasted for months, if not years. Now researchers think they may have found the root cause.
Welcome back to Mornings on 2. A gorgeous look as the sun is coming up over the Oakland Alameda estuary. Still some rain in the forecast today, according to our meteorologist, Steve Paulson, but thankfully nothing like what we went through yesterday. But still, we are firmly in fall, so we'll see together what the weather brings. Researchers have finally identified the root cause for the lasting cognitive issues often called brain fog in long COVID patients. Using sophisticated brain scans, scientists pinpointed a physical change within the central nervous system. Doctors can now treat brain fog as a real, measurable injury. And even more importantly, the breakthrough allows scientists to develop new treatments to reduce the excessive activity and restore clear thinking. Researchers say this could be a huge breakthrough.
Our time is now 7:25. Insulin will soon cost less for millions of people with diabetes in California. Governor Newsom just signed a bill capping the out-of-pocket cost for insulin at $35 a month. The new law, which begins next year, affects large group health insurers. Individual and smaller insurers are exempt until 2027.
Quite a scare for visitors at the San Diego Zoo after one gorilla dove into a barrier and broke one layer of a 3-layer tempered glass panel at the Gorilla Forest exhibit. A 10-year-old gorilla named Denny charged the glass. Denny is a western lowland gorilla, part of a critically endangered species. One group of visitors was there celebrating a birthday. A woman and her sister spent about 20 minutes observing the gorillas and took video of their own minutes before Denny charged.
We were actually looking down at our cell phones. So we didn't notice that he had taken a running start, jumped, and then launched into the glass, and he hit it with his elbow or his forearm, right into the glass, directly in front of my face. I was so jolted, I fell back a few feet, and then when I looked up to see what had happened, I just saw the gorilla staring directly at me, making eye contact with me, and then this giant crack. And I mean, this crack propagated probably 6 feet. It was pretty big.
No one was injured. Zoologists say they don't know what prompted the gorilla to charge the glass.
Garcia.
I know.
What would you do?
Not look the gorilla in the eye, apparently. Yeah, no, it's a tricky thing. Thank goodness everyone and everything is okay.
All right, time is 7:26. A food pantry on the peninsula being saved from being forced to close. We have details of the organization that's stepping in to prevent that nonprofit from having to close at the end of the month.
Then 49er star linebacker Fred Warner left Sunday's game with a gruesome injury. What head coach Kyle Shanahan says about his recovery and what he said to the rest of the team about the rest of the season.
Good morning. From California to Hawaii, tens of thousands of Kaiser Permanente workers are walking off the jobs and going on strike. How long is the strike expected to last, and how the hospital says all assignments are going to be covered during the walkout. And a terrifying, scary encounter in San Rafael. A woman says she was kidnapped by someone she met through an app. How the police found and rescued her and arrested 3 men.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Mornings on 2. I'm Dave Clark.
I'm Gassia Mikaelian. It's Tuesday, October 14th. We are not done with the rain yet, but thankfully today looks and feels different than yesterday, Steve.
Well, it's pushed into Southern California, where it'll be much more active there. The front's gone through, but moisture coming back around that is certainly painting areas northern Napa County, Lake, Mendocino, and about Santa Rosa North. Some of that could easily sneak in Solano and Marin County. But south of that, there's a noticeable break with much cooler temperatures. Not so in the valley, not so up in the mountains, and certainly not in southern and central California. It has been incredibly active couple of days here for us. Southern California will be today, and yesterday was all about Tempe, Arizona. Had a microburst, 70 to 90 mile an hour winds, lots of damage, lots of flooding. That moisture there is wrapping back around, so that's going to give areas north continuous rain, whereas south there get some breaks. So it's a mix of sun and clouds today. It does look like it's all about areas north. I'll say Contra Costa County, Solano County north, with possible scattered showers developing. That low, though, is a powerhouse as it moves into Southern California. Thunderstorm watches are out all over the place down there. Tuesday afternoon, showers, even though we get some sun, but partly to mostly cloudy. Light, steady rain north and east. Mostly cloudy afternoon. Temperatures unseasonably cool here, 50s and 60s. All right, Sal's here at 7:31. Where are we going first?
Let's go to Highway 4 in Pittsburgh, our friends in Pittsburgh, Steve, and heading over to Concord, perhaps. Let's start off with Highway 4. You can see it is going to be slow now. Backed up to Somersville Road, and it slows to Willow Pass. Southbound 680, we had an earlier crash near the North Main exit. It's been slow ever since, although the crash is not in the lanes anymore. Westbound 24 is moderate. This is a look at the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge and also the Bay Bridge. Both are backed up where you normally would expect them on a busy commute day. 7:32, let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal, what's happening today? Thousands of Kaiser Permanente employees are going on strike this morning all across the state. KTVU's Amanda Quintana is in Oakland at the Kaiser headquarters, and you have more information. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. Yes, so this group has grown pretty quickly. More than 100 people here outside the Kaiser in Oakland. They are walking up and down the street. They're loud. They're doing chants. They have music. Everyone has a sign or a T-shirt. And we continue to see people just adding to this group. The workers that are going on strike, they include nurses, physician assistants, pharmacists, midwives, and other hospital workers, adding up to more than 30,000 employees. This strike is being described as the union's largest ever, with thousands expected to walk off the job this morning. It's set to last 5 days, and this affects hospitals and clinics here in California and in Hawaii. The union and Kaiser leadership have not been able to come to an agreement about wages. The union claims that Kaiser is offering workers a pay decrease, while Kaiser argues its employees already earn above market wages and says its latest offer includes a 21.5% salary increase over 4 years. Kaiser says anything beyond that will force them to raise member rates.
Anesthetists have been bargaining our first contract with Kaiser for the last 18 months, and we're just not getting anywhere. In the last 2 years, the nurse anesthetists, my group of 400, we've lost 100 to other jobs by employers, and we're struggling to keep the operating rooms open. So we're here to get a fair contract so that we can give Kaiser patients the care that they deserve.
In a statement, Kaiser says they respect the union and value their employees for the vital role they play in caring for 12.5 million Kaiser members. But they say a strike is unnecessary when a generous offer is on the table. It's designed to disrupt the lives of patients and the very people we are here to serve. Kaiser says that hospitals and clinics will remain open. They plan to use more than 7,600 temporary workers to backfill the positions of the people who are going on strike. So if you are a patient, you could see minimal impacts. Still, they say, because some appointments will be moved online, but they hope that those people they're putting into backfill won't affect the workings of the hospitals too much. Live in Oakland, Amanda Quintana, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Amanda, thank you. A Palo Alto food pantry will be able to keep serving people in need with help from a local nonprofit. The Downtown Food Closet was run by the Downtown Streets team, but that organization shut down last month, saying the current political and financial climate impacted its ability to sustain its programs. Now another nonprofit is stepping in. Peninsula Healthcare Connection will take over the food pantry's lease and pay its employees.
They saved the food pantry in so many ways. So we're excited. You should have seen the look on the clients' faces when they found out we're not going to close down.
Peninsula Healthcare Connection is also in the process of getting grants from the city. The pantry can currently serve up to 100 people a day.
Our time now 7:36. Police in San Rafael say officers rescued a woman who was kidnapped by 3 men she met through an app. The 3 suspects were arrested over the weekend. Now they're facing charges of kidnapping and conspiracy after the arrest. Police say the victim is a sex worker who met the 3 men in the Canal neighborhood and willingly got into their car. The suspects then allegedly drove her to a remote part of Santa Rosa, where one suspect threatened her with a knife. Police say the fact that she's a sex worker does not have an impact on the charges filed in this case.
It doesn't matter. Nobody has the right to kidnap someone or falsely imprison them. If somebody doesn't want to consent to an activity, they don't have to, and people have to be respectful of that, regardless of the situation.
Now, police say the woman was able to escape and call 911, while dispatchers used GPS information from her phone to pinpoint where she was. The police found her as she was screaming for help and arrested the suspects as they tried to drive away.
Alameda County supervisors will meet today to consider an emergency funding measure to provide more support for the region's immigrant and refugee community. The plan would provide $3.5 million to fund the county's rapid response hotline to help those facing possible deportation. The money would also provide legal services and education programs for immigrants and refugees across the county. Supporters say the funding is needed to respond to the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Governor Newsom vetoed a bill that would have allowed colleges to give preference in admissions to descendants of enslaved people. It was part of a package of reparations bills, some of which the governor has signed, including creating a state reparations agency. In a statement, the governor said he vetoed the admissions bill because educational institutions already have the ability to provide such preferences. The governor did sign a measure that could provide a lifeline for Bay Area transit agencies. The bill puts a 14-year sales tax initiative on the November 2026 ballot. It would ask Bay Area voters to approve a half-cent sales tax increase in 4 Bay Area counties: Alameda, Contra Costa, San Mateo, and Santa Clara. The sales tax in San Francisco County would go up a full cent. Bay Area transit agencies, including BART, Caltrain, AC Transit, and Muni, are facing massive deficits. If approved, the measure would generate up to $980 million a year.
All right, our time is 7:38. Hey, Sal, were you able to fix the morning traffic yet?
Well, maybe not, Dave, but I'm seeing something that I like, and that is, Dave and Gassia, there aren't that many puddles as there were earlier. I did see a lot of crews working on that on the way in. Let's go to the Bay Bridge. You can see that looks pretty normal here at the toll plaza. It's a normal-looking commute. But early this morning, a lot of the road crews were out there clearing drains, so some of the water could go down the drain, really. Some of the debris was clogging it, so there was standing water. San Mateo Bridge looks okay, but nearby we have some slow traffic heading south on 880. And look at the South Bay. Unfortunately, now we've had a couple of things pop up. Most of these are minor crashes, but it's pretty slow now heading to Sunnyvale and Cupertino. 7:39. Let's talk about the storm that happened. It was, Steve, I have to say, it was pretty good rain yesterday.
For mid-October, really good rain, right?
Yep.
I mean, this is going to green up the hills, no doubt about it here. The projection for the Santa Cruz Mountains was 2.38. Bonnie Doon came in with 2.37. How about that? Ben Lomond had 2 inches of rain as well, but there are a lot of other totals. Los Gatos, 1.65. That was in town. There was over 2 inches in the Los Gatos Hills. San Jose Airport, unbelievable, 1.52. They are now up to, where's my running numbers here? I mean, I have to take, they are so far ahead, it isn't funny here. Where are you, San Jose? They're now up to, they had 89 100s. They're up to 2.41 for the season, I believe. They should have a quarter of an inch. They're just absolutely crushing it. Mountain View's over an inch of rain. Palo Alto had almost 0.8 of an inch of rain. Other locations with good rain included Benicia, 1.80, Terra Linda, 1.73, Danville, 1.58, Davenport, 1.1 inches, Vallejo, 1.1 inches. Santa Rosa's been making up ground all morning long. They're now over an inch of rain. Oakland, 0.9, and the city's picked up 3/4 of an inch. Other totals were pretty good as well. Alum Rock, 2, Oakland Hills above the Oakland Zoo, 1.82. Near Crockett, 1.81. Brentwood, 1.65. Sonola's in there. Fremont, that was at Auto Mall Parkway. And Livermore, 1.25 inches, and San Rafael, 1 inch and 15 100ths. This is powerhouse low is now driving into Central California and Southern California. This will be a huge deal down in LA and also in the Valley. A lot of lightning strikes, San Luis Obispo on the backside of that, so Paso Robles, Santa Maria. But the moisture rotating back around is painting a pretty wet picture here. Northern Napa County, looks like around St. Helena up into Lake County, and for sure, Santa Rosa, Windsor, Healdsburg, Cloverdale. A little bit's kind of sneaking into Marin County, but most of it's to the north. Yet there's a noticeable break for areas in Peninsula, Fremont, San Jose, down to the Santa Clara Valley, at least for now. Although I think later today we'll get some showers, thunder showers. But it's all about areas north today as that moisture wraps back around. 30s in the mountains, almost too warm there, but some wet snow being reported. Winter storm warning goes through tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. So the cold air is just now moving in. 42 Menlo Park, 41 Half Moon Bay, amazing. 47 now Fremont, even Martinez down to 45. It's going to be a huge day in Southern California. First severe thunderstorm watch since 2008 for Los Angeles. And snow up in the mountains with maybe one more weak system late Sunday, Monday, although I don't really buy into it. So Tuesday afternoon showers, a mix of sun clouds, a lot of clouds, rain to the north and east, and maybe some thunder showers later today.
Steve, thank you. A growing number of airports declining to display a video in which the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem blames congressional Democrats for the government shutdown and any travel-related delays.
We're going to talk more about that when you join us in our next hour at 8 o'clock. But for now, we do want to hear from you. So let's go over to Andre Sr. You have our viewer poll of the day.
Dave Garcia, good morning to you both. This morning, we're asking, should airports be allowed to reject government videos that are political? And simply yes or no here right now. 86% of you say yes, and 14% of you say no. Go to KTVU.com/vote. Let us know what you think about our question of the day.
All right. Well, as we go to breakdown, we'll take one more look at that poll, and you are voting. You can scan the QR code in the top right-hand corner. It'll take you to our poll.
Some of the morning's top stories here at 7:46. Talks at the summit in Egypt aim to permanently end the war, disarm Hamas, and rebuild the Gaza Strip. The 20-point ceasefire plan brokered by the U.S. also includes the creation of an international coalition of countries willing to contribute to a peacekeeping mission and establish a new governing authority in Gaza. The U.S. is sending 200 troops to Israel to help oversee the process.
The CHP is busy searching for a 15-year-old girl from Marin County who's been missing for almost a month. An ebony alert was issued for Elizabeth Dolman, last seen September 19th in Marin City. Now, here's her photo. She's described as 5'5", weighing 160 pounds, last seen wearing a black zip-up hoodie, blue jeans, and black Uggs. If you've seen her or have information, call 911.
In a little more than an hour from now, San Mateo County Board of Supervisors will meet about the future of Sheriff Christina Corpus. At 9 this morning, supervisors will hold a special meeting about final action to remove the sheriff. She is accused of having an inappropriate work relationship and creating a culture of intimidation. Sheriff Corpus has denied all allegations.
Well, this week will mark 57 years since two athletes from San Jose State made their iconic Black Power salute at the 1968 Olympics. Yesterday, people gathered on the campus to honor Tommy Smith and John Carlos for their courage. They attended the panel discussions about the impact of this historic moment when the track and field medalists stood on the podium and held up their fists as a protest to the oppression of black people. The city of San Jose also declared October 18th as Tommy Smith and John Carlos Day, recognizing their contributions to the civil rights movement.
Wherever we come from, we take our history with us. And for me to identify as a D1 track and field athlete at San Jose State is to identify with the events and what occurred in Mexico City at the 1968 Olympics.
And San Jose State has a statue honoring Tommy Smith and John Carlos in that iconic pose. The city declared October 18th as Tommy Smith and John Carlos Day, recognizing their contributions to the civil rights movement.
San Francisco 49ers All-Pro linebacker Fred Warner will undergo a season-ending surgery today to repair an ankle.
Yeah, Fred dislocated and fractured his right ankle in the first quarter of Sunday's loss to Tampa Bay. 49er head coach Kyle Shanahan says he's still optimistic Warner could be back in time for the team's off-season program. Until now, Fred Warner had only missed one game since he was drafted by the 49ers in 2018.
Reality is we lost another really good player, but what are we going to do about it? And what type of team are we going to become going forward? And I think we have players here we can win with, but it makes it harder to make mistakes and things like that.
Now, Coach Shanahan says the rookies have to step up for the team to get the most of their 4-2 record. Now, in some other injury updates on the 49ers, some good news. Tight end George Kittle expected to be back at practice this week and play on Sunday. George Kittle was on the injured reserve dealing with a hamstring injury. And quarterback Brock Purdy and wide receiver Ricky Pearsall will both be evaluated and checked out tomorrow when the players return. The 49ers will host the Atlanta Falcons at Levi Stadium Sunday night.
Former 49ers kicker Jake Moody delivered a dramatic game-winning kick for his new team.
Snap a bit high. Kick is good. And the Bears win it. Jake Moody, a hero tonight.
What does that feel like? He'll be telling that story forever. Elevated from the Chicago Bears practice squad just hours before, Moody was thrust into the spotlight again against the Washington Commanders on a rainy Monday night game. The kicker stepped up and drilled the 38-yard field goal as time expired to secure an exhilarating 25-24 victory. A good start for Moody on his new team after being cut from the Niners early in the season after a rough start to the year.
Sure was. All right, time is 7:50. Hey, Sal, how's it going in our traffic now?
It's going well. I think a lot of Niner fans were cheering for Jake. I know. All right. Good morning, everyone. You know what? Let's go to San Jose. I want to start there because we do have a lot more slow traffic joining us. There haven't been that many serious crashes. There's been some standing water in some of those drains I talked about, and there have been a lot of fender bender type crashes. Not serious crashes, but nevertheless could slow you down a little bit on 85 and 17, for example. A lot of them are still there, so give yourself an extra 15 minutes. The San Mateo Bridge traffic has become a lot better. We'll see what the Bay Bridge does. I don't see this commute improving anytime soon. Still a solid commute from at least the Maze. Now, 7:51. You see, Steve, all Jake Moody needed was a change of scenery.
Kickers and closers, Sal.
Yes, sir.
Kickers and closers. Thank you, sir. All right, our big powerhouse low for mid-October. I mean, you got to give it credit. It's really delivered. Is now churning in Southern California, actually Central Cal, around San Luis Obispo. Lots of lightning strikes. The moisture, though, wrapping back around that is giving pretty good rain. Areas to the north, especially around Santa Rosa, also into Lake County. This will be a huge deal for Southern California and also in the valley, and that moisture rotating back in. There could be a lot of severe weather in Southern California today. Water spouts would not be supplerized by funnel cloud. Look at that moisture coming back in, though. That comes back in from the valley, so northern Napa County. Looks like about Santa Rosa North. A little bit's trying to sneak into Marin County, coming across San Pablo Bay. So I'll mention Solano, Marin, San Pablo Bay North for the morning here. 40s, 50s on the temps. Half Moon Bay down to 41 cool degrees. Woodside's also down there. Stanford Campus 42, Pacifica 43. That's a little chill in the morning air. Same for SoCal at 42. Boulder Creek's 43. And 45 is popular. Campbell's in there, Santa Clara, Cupertino, and Santa Cruz. There's our big powerhouse low. It'll hang around for another day, then it kick out towards the east next 24 hours. But Southern California, boy, I'll tell you, it's going to be all sorts of issues. They get a 1/4 inch of rain down there, and it's a problem, right, Dave? They get an inch of rain or 2 inches. It's really a problem. So Tuesday afternoon showers, although there's some sun breaks, I think we'll see cloud cover popping up. Again, you need lift, instability, and moisture, and all of them are present today. So 50s, 60s on the temps. After today, we'll start to see improving conditions. Lows will be a little chilly, but it looks nice Thursday, Friday, into Saturday.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time 7:52 from California to Florida. Some airports are drawing the line about a new video message from the Department of Homeland Security. Up next at 8 o'clock, why critics say the TSA video is sparking a national debate over politics in public spaces. And some thrill seekers just thrilled about the current government shutdown, how they're turning one of Yosemite Park's most famous attractions into their very own playland.
2, 1. We have liftoff. Go Super Heavy. Go Starship.
SpaceX just achieved a major milestone, the latest flight test of the Starship rocket. That huge rocket blasted off from Texas at the Starbase facility. The hour-long mission is seen as key to its eventual missions to Mars. SpaceX says some key objectives were met, including the successful deployment of mock Starlink satellites and some other technologies. The flight also collected valuable information about the rocket's re-entry performance as it streaked through the atmosphere and then splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico. SpaceX plans to send the Starship to the moon by the year 2027. Well, Apple is facing a lawsuit over how it trains its artificial intelligence. Two neuroscience professors in New York State claim the company used their copyrighted books to train its AI. This is the second lawsuit against Apple over its AI training in the past 2 months. Apple has made no comment on this latest legal action. Well, the price of silver hitting record highs. The surge in the price has been fueled by growing demand for precious metals. During all of the market volatility that's happening, analysts at Goldman Sachs point out that silver is benefiting from the same private investment flows as gold, particularly with anticipated Federal Reserve rate cuts. Gold is also doing very well. However, some experts point out that the unpredictability of macroeconomics, politics, and finance can make gold a volatile and even speculative asset. Well, happening today, the Trump administration increasing its trade war with China. The U.S. is now imposing fees on Chinese computer chips docking at American ports. The White House says the docking fee is intended to counter China's dominance of commercial shipbuilding and also to help revitalize the United States and its shipbuilding industry. It's the latest battle in the growing trade war between the world's two biggest economies.
Is China versus the world. They have pointed a bazooka at the supply chains and the industrial base of the entire free world. And, we're not going to have it.
Now, President Trump has already announced the U.S. will impose a 100% tariff on all products from China effective November 1st. The president said these new tariffs are a response to China's decision to restrict access to its exports of rare earth minerals. Those minerals, by the way, are needed to make computer chips and other electronics. Well, caught on camera, people were seen in Yosemite illegally base jumping off El Capitan in Yosemite National Park. One of the climbers shared this video showing a group of base jumpers coming down from the giant rock wall. Park rangers say Yosemite has been turned into a wild west of adventurers ever since the government shutdown began. The National Park Service lost 24% of its permanent staff during the Doge layoffs. Squatters have reportedly filled up campgrounds, and climbers are using the half-dome cables without having permits.
Well, good morning. Tens of thousands of employees at Kaiser united in walking off the job across California this morning. These are live pictures outside the Kaiser headquarters in Oakland. Tens of hundreds of hospitals and clinics are affected by the strike. We're live with their goal and the impact on patients and services. Plus,
Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government.
a TSA message grounded at airports from coast to coast, including California. Why this message from Kristi Noem is sparking backlash as the shutdown hits 2 weeks. And tracking the break in the rain for your commute this morning, the area is cleaning up from flooding and impacts on fire-damaged areas.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Welcome to Mornings on 2 at 8 o'clock. Look live across San Francisco Bay this morning. The sun is coming out, a far different change than yesterday, but the impacts are still lingering. We understand that heavy rain and a shortage of air traffic controllers is causing some problems over at San Francisco International Airport this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
Good morning. I'm Garcia Michaelian. It's Tuesday, October 14th. Looks and feels a little bit like yesterday, but a lot drier and maybe cooler, right, Steve?
Oh, no doubt. We're seeing a lot of 40s for lows here, especially on the peninsula and areas that have cleared out. Santa Cruz Mountains, though, in the rainfall. showed projections of around 2.38, and Bonnie Doon checked in at 2.37. Just an incredible accurate forecast from what's called the GEM forecast model. Ben Lomond had 2 other locations, Los Gatos, in town, 1.65, San Jose with an incredible 1.52, Castro Valley with almost 1.5 inches, and Morgan Hill with almost 1.25 inches. There are some breaks in the clouds, that's for sure, but there's definitely rain still to the north. Santa Rosa is now over 1 inch of rain. 44 Palo Alto, a little chill in the morning air, even Livermore at 48. The moisture wrapping back around counterclockwise has been painting northern Napa Lake, Mendocino, and Sonoma County with rain this morning, and that could easily continue throughout the day with then clouds beginning to pop up here, I think, later today in areas that are having some sun and a few breaks. That cold air, remember, you got to lift it, cool it, condense it. You could get some activity later today, even though we're a little north of the primary low and its energy source. But I would think more towards Napa today. That looks to be the best bet as far as more additional rain. That low, though, will be a huge story in Southern California and Central California today. So Tuesday afternoon showers, light rain north and east, mostly cloudy this afternoon. Cool temps well below average on the highs, 50s and 60s. All right, Sal's here, 8:02, and he's off to where?
Yeah, we're off to the East Bay, Steve. We have a couple of things to talk about. First of all, check in with the Bay Bridge as we normally do. It's a 30-minute delay if you're starting from the end of the line. San Mateo Bridge, deceiving picture here because just before this, there's a crash near the toll plaza. So when you get onto the bridge, it looks good, but getting to the bridge is something else. And also, South Bay commute is slow. We have a crash, a new one, northbound 101 at Marsh Road. And traffic is quickly backing up into Palo Alto. 8:02. Let's get back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. The Bay Area's first storm of the season dropped a lot of rain, flooding roads and trapping some drivers.
Yeah, parts of the South Bay hit the hardest in San Jose. Our cameras captured a car stuck in the water and getting towed out. This is on 280 near the Meridian Avenue exit. The driver told us they drove right into the water without realizing how deep it was. There was also flooding at the 280-17 interchange, which impacted drivers. San Jose firefighters responded to a vehicle, at least one vehicle, trapped in the middle of a flooded road. This is on Hamilton Way near Kessing Avenue in the Willow Glen neighborhood. Firefighters pushing that vehicle out of the flooded water. Several parked vehicles also submerged due to heavy rain. And the holiday meant the roads weren't quite as busy during the afternoon commute as the rain came pouring down. Video here from San Mateo as the rain hit roads that haven't seen a downpour in some time. It made for slick pavement and a lot of calls for the CHP to handle.
As the rain increases, typically so do our calls. So just making sure we have officers available to respond to crashes, to spinouts, to debris in the roadway.
In Palo Alto, the Starbucks patio was pretty empty as the rain rolled in. Some people we talked to said they welcome the wet weather, saying that we need the rain and hope it will bring plenty of water for our reservoirs and snow for our mountains.
8:04 happening today. Thousands of Kaiser employees are set to strike this morning across the state.
KTVU's Amanda Quintana is live at Kaiser headquarters in Oakland with more details. Amanda?
Yeah, well, there are hundreds of people striking here outside of the Kaiser in Oakland, and the group continues to grow. We're also seeing a lot of people who are driving by, honking, showing their support. The workers that are on strike include nurses, physician assistants, pharmacists, midwives, and other hospital workers, adding up to more than 30,000 employees. This is being described as this union's largest ever. The strike is set to last 5 days, and it affects hospitals and clinics here in California and in Hawaii. The union and Kaiser leadership have not been able to come to an agreement about wages. The union claims Kaiser is offering workers a pay decrease, while Kaiser argues its employees already earn above market wages and says its latest offer includes a 21.5% salary increase over 4 years. Kaiser says anything beyond that will force them to raise member rates.
Anesthetists have been bargaining our first contract with Kaiser for the last 18 months, and we're just not getting anywhere. In the last 2 years, the nurse anesthetists, my group of 400, we've lost 100 to other jobs by employers, and we're struggling to keep the operating rooms open. So we're here to get a fair contract so that we can give Kaiser patients the care that they deserve.
In a statement, Kaiser says they respect the union and they value their employees for the vital role they play in caring for 12.5 million Kaiser members. But a strike is unnecessary when a generous offer is on the table. It's designed to disrupt the lives of our patients, the very people we are here to serve. Kaiser says that its hospitals and its clinics will remain open. Some appointments may need to turn into online appointments, but they do have people ready. More than 7,000 temporary workers are ready to step in and backfill those positions of people who are striking. So again, you're hearing, I mean, even fire trucks and ambulances that are driving by are honking, showing their support, cheering along with some of the people here, but a lot of people here outside of Kaiser in Oakland with signs, cheering. It is a very lively group. Live in Oakland, Amanda King on KTVU Fox 2 News.
Something expected to go on for several more days. Amanda, thank you. Now to this story at 8:07, more airports, including all 3 of the Bay Area airports, are declining to display a video from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. In it, Noem blames congressional Democrats for the government shutdown and any related travel delays. Officials that oversee these airports warn the video could violate internal policies that bar political messaging. Officials from Oakland, San Francisco, and San Jose airports all said they will not be playing it. They join airports in Los Angeles, Phoenix, Seattle, and Cleveland. The airports also say the video could violate state or federal laws prohibiting the use of public resources for political activity. And this morning, we're asking, should airports be allowed to reject government videos that are political? Your options are yes or no, and right now, 80% of you say yes, 20% of you say no. Scan the QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen or go to ktvu.com/vote.
Relatives can now step into care for children whose parents have been deported thanks to a new law signed by Governor Newsom. Immigrants' rights groups say the new law is needed due to the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. The law broadens the definition of relatives to include great aunts and uncles and cousins. Parents have said they need people they can trust to take care of their children if they're forced to leave the country.
Well, community colleges in California may have to cut a number of student programs now. The Trump administration is slashing $350 million in funding for colleges across the country that serve minorities. The U.S. Education Secretary said the grants discriminate by restricting eligibility based on racial quotas. At least 97 of California's 116 community colleges could be impacted. All but one CSU also lost grants, and 5 of 9 UCs.
President Trump is now looking ahead to phase 2 of the Gaza ceasefire agreement following his historic day in the Middle East. A live look now at the White House. The president returned home to Washington from Israel and Egypt after the U.S. brokered the agreement to end the fighting between Israel and Hamas. The president pumped his fist at reporters gathered outside the White House as he returned home early this morning. He says he's now turning his attention to the critical second phase of the ceasefire agreement. The president says his goal is to secure stability across the Gaza Strip and bring a lasting peace to the Middle East.
We have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to put the old feuds and bitter hatreds behind us. They always talked about World War III would start in the Middle East, and that's not going to happen.
The White House says the release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners is only the first step in establishing a long-term Middle East peace plan. The administration says it's now working with other world leaders to develop a plan to disarm Hamas and create a post-war government in Gaza.
Well, the Pope has sent 5,000 doses of antibiotics to Gaza, specifically to aid children suffering from the ongoing conflict. This humanitarian effort was coordinated by the Office of Papal Charities, often referred to as the Pope's First Aid Service. The delivery of the essential medicine was facilitated by the recent reopening of key border crossings, which are now allowed to aid people in Gaza.
A Palo Alto food pantry will be able to keep serving those in need with help from a local nonprofit. The Downtown Food Closet was run by the Downtown Streets team. The organization shut down last month, saying the current political and financial environment impacted its ability to sustain programs. Now another nonprofit has stepped in. Peninsula Healthcare Connection will take over the food pantry's lease and pay its employees.
It's 8:10, and we do have on the peninsula a crash northbound 101 at Marsh Road. You can see it is slowing traffic from Palo Alto heading up north and southbound. Also has started affecting the Dumbarton Bridge. As people get off the bridge, they're going to be caught in a bunch of traffic there along those highways leading to 101. Also, we do have slow traffic on the San Mateo Bridge. There was an earlier crash right at the toll plaza. It was right there. They moved it. It was minor injuries, but it did cause its share of slow traffic. The Bay Bridge is backed up for at least a 30-minute delay this morning before you make it onto the span. 8:10. Let's go back to the desk.
Well, the president's new $100,000 visa fee shaking up Congress, the bipartisan talks over high-skilled immigration.
A new front in the trade war this morning, why people remodeling or redecorating their homes will likely feel the effects, and what economists predict the effect will be on certain industries.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Some of the morning's top stories here at 8:14. President Trump is set to meet with Ukraine's president at the White House on Friday. The president is considering sending Tomahawk long-range missiles to Ukraine. The missiles would allow Ukraine to take the fight deeper into Russian territory. Russia says such a move would constitute a serious escalation in the war. In less than an hour, San Mateo Board of Supervisors will meet about the future of Sheriff Christina Corpus. At 9 o'clock, supervisors will hold a special meeting about final action to remove the sheriff. She's accused of having an inappropriate work relationship and creating a culture of intimidation. Sheriff Corpus has denied all allegations.
Millions of people with diabetes in California will now be paying less for their insulin. The governor signed a bill capping the out-of-pocket cost for insulin at $35 a month. The law affects a large group of healthcare insurers starting next year. Individual and smaller insurers are exempt until 2027. While the proposed fee on worker visas is sparking bipartisan interest, President Donald Trump wants employers to pay $100,000 to hire immigrant workers in high-skilled fields that need H-1B visas. For decades, the U.S. tech industry has used H-1B visas to hire foreign employees. The president's proposal has leaders from both parties in the U.S. Senate introducing legislation that would prioritize applications from H-1Bs for people with advanced degrees in STEM fields.
Alameda County supervisors will meet today to consider an emergency funding measure to provide more support for the region's immigrant and refugee community. The plan would provide $3.5 million to fund the county's rapid response hotline to help those facing possible deportation. The money would also provide legal services and education programs for immigrants and refugees across the county. Supporters say the funding is needed to respond to the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. New tariffs now in effect on imported furniture, kitchen cabinets, and lumber. President Trump says the tariffs are meant to encourage more domestic logging and furniture production. Critics say the levies will raise prices for American consumers and could slow industries, including home building, that rely on materials from abroad. The tariffs come in addition to import taxes the president has already imposed on cars, steel, and other goods.
Well, time now is 8:16. Lawmakers and community organizers want California voters to get involved in the fight to pass Prop 50.
The nonprofit progressive group Our Revolution sponsored a virtual event last night that urged people to take part in phone banks in support of the redistricting measure. Speakers included union and community organizers, as well as South Bay Congressman Ro Khanna. Khanna said California needs to push back against Trump administration efforts to redraw district lines in many other states.
I want all of you, everyone, and I will, to get every vote. I don't want a 51-49 victory. It's not just about 3 seats. I want to show that the progressive movement is alive, is well, is beating, and we're going to build on this in 26, 27, 28, and for the next decade.
Some participants in last night's event said they're concerned about turnout, which historically is low during off-year elections.
It's 8:17. We're starting to see some improvement for the morning commute. So if you do have flexibility and you want to wait around, the Bay Bridge is beginning to move more efficiently, but it's still backed up before the maze. And this morning, we've also had some slow traffic on the San Mateo Bridge, or at least approaching it. There was an earlier crash near the toll plaza, and the South Bay commute is filled in. One thing that's new is that crash northbound 101 near Marsh Road. We had a lot of slow traffic. It's now beginning to affect the westbound Dumbarton Bridge because of all the freeways being slow when you get to the other side. 8:18. Let's talk about today's weather. Here's Steve.
Sal, our powerhouse low is now down in central California, San Luis Obispo, but it is going to be a huge deal in the Valley, Central California, and especially Los Angeles. And then wrapping back around that moisture has been painting a steady light rain for many to the north. Lots of lightning strikes. Could be some funnel clouds, water spouts as well. But this will be a big deal down in Southern California, Paso Robles, Santa Maria, Santa Barbara. Look at this. I mean, coming back in from the valley, so northern Napa County, Santa Rosa, Windsor, Healdsburg, Cloverdale, up into Lake County, back over towards Bodega Bay, even into parts of the Russian River. That has been steady all morning long, and I would not be surprised if some of this kind of sneaks into Solano County as well, coming back in as that low starts to move a little more south and east. So that will be the focus for today. Noticeable breaks in the clouds from about San Francisco, Oakland, south to San Jose and Gilroy, but that will start to see more cloud cover later today. You get the sun breaks in this kind of a system. It's only a matter of time before clouds start to build. It does look like this is more about, Concord, Napa, San Rafael, and Santa Rosa today than anywhere else, but easily could get a thunderstorm dropping, quick downpour here. 30s in the mountains. Best opportunity for snow, real good snow, would be tonight as the cold air comes in and the low starts to kick out. There is a winter storm warning up there, but again, you're kind of seeing a rain-snow mix. So, above lake level, I'm sure it's pretty good, but at lake level, it probably won't be really good until tonight. As this system is definitely going to make for some widespread downpours, thunderstorms, and I think localized flooding in central and southern California today. We get a mixed bag of sun, clouds, showers, and maybe some thunder showers later today. A lot of 40s this morning, especially Peninsula, San Mateo Coast, Woodside in there, Stanford, Camden. These are cool lows. Same can be said down towards Santa Cruz Mountains, Boulder Creek, 42. Soquel has also dipped to 42 cool degrees. This system will move out in the next 24 hours, but any travel plans to Southern California, I would not be surprised if you're delayed. This is a big system for them. It was big for us. It's really big for them. So a mix of partly to mostly cloudy here. Rain continuing, though, especially north and east, and then scattered showers later today. 50s, 60s on the temps. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, will look sunny and warmer, you guys.
Thank you. Instagram will now tailor teenagers' feeds so there won't be any racier than what you'd see in a PG-13 movie, what young users should no longer have access to. (8:23) new this morning. More safety changes for teen users of Instagram. Meta will now limit content on Instagram for teens to anything that could be seen under the PG-13 rating system used by the film industry. This also applies to AI chatbots. The rating usually flags swear words, mild violence, and partial nudity. Meta says it will not recommend content with nudity to teen users.
Spotify says more people are listening to audiobooks on its platform. The streaming service says audiobook listeners in the U.S., U.K., and Australia surged by over 30% year over year. Spotify recently increased the number of hours of audiobooks that subscribers can listen to per month. It says much of the expansion comes from listeners trying audiobooks for the first time. Other major publishers are also reporting double-digit audiobook sales increases as well.
All right, back to the weather here as the storm that caused flooding in parts of the Bay has moved to other parts of California.
The storm dropped over an inch of rain across parts of the Bay Area, and now it's moving south down in Southern California. Their heaviest rain is expected early this morning. Evacuation warnings were already issued in advance for those living near the most recent burn scar areas, including the Palisades and Eden fires. This is new video from this morning. The rain is coming down in the Palisades. Southern California forecasters warn it could be the strongest October storm in more than a decade. Now, part of the problem, many homeowners are in the process of rebuilding following January's wildfires, and now homeowners are bracing for the storm and reinforcing their homes to protect them from floods.
We just got to make sure the mud doesn't come through, as much water, get it away from the area. The house made it through the fire. We got to get it through the storms.
In February, waters rushed down onto roads in the Palisades, causing a muddy mess. It was even strong enough to even push a car into the ocean. Last night, police went door to door to just over 100 houses in the Palisades to tell residents to leave. Now here, back in the Bay, flash flood warnings have been allowed to expire. Some Napa County residents got an alert on their phones yesterday about the potential for flooding. It was issued in the same region where the Picket Fire burned thousands of acres, raising the risk of mudslides and dangerous debris flows. The rain was heavy in the area yesterday, but luckily there were no mud and landslides.
We really don't have mudslides in this area because it's very rocky, very volcanic. So the water sort of pours off the mountains.
It's always a concern, but we've had lots of rain over the years. It's not the first fire that we're healing from, and not the second or third. There's been several.
Nearly the entire East Bay and South Bay was under a flood advisory for part of yesterday, but forecasters have allowed those to expire now.
My family's from Hong Kong. They came here in the 60s when they were 10 years old, and they grew up in Chinatown.
Despite no ties,
so we're really
to
a lot of part of that
community.
history.
Despite no ties to the Latino community, one San Francisco restaurant owner is celebrating Hispanic culture with his food while he is taking on a challenge to learn how to cook new cuisine.
A medical blow for 49ers linebacker Fred Warner after leaving Sunday's game with a serious injury. What the head coach says about his recovery and the remainder of the season. Violence erupts in Gaza amid a U.S. brokered truce, while Israel is defending its latest attack, and the questions about whether political agreements can translate to lasting stability for civilians caught in the crossfire. Here at home, Dreamforce, San Francisco's biggest conference of the year, starts today, days after controversy was sparked by the CEO of Salesforce. What he now says about bringing the National Guard to the city and why businesses near Moscone Center are hoping for history to repeat itself.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Gassia Mikaelian.
I'm Andre Sr. It's Tuesday, October 14th. A much different look outside. The sun is out this morning. Steve Paulson, much different yesterday, though.
For some, it's raining for others, but yes, more sun here today for many, especially about San Francisco, Oakland South, Peninsula, San Jose, Santa Clara Valley. Not the case north. Just got a nice picture of a rain gauge from Patrick. Saratoga Gap, 2.75 inches of rain. Bonnie Doon, 2.38. Those are the most I've seen. Doesn't mean there haven't been more. Los Gatos, 1.65. That's in town. And the Los Gatos Hills, there was about 2.10. San Jose, just laughing, mocking everyone with another 1.5 inches here. Castro Valley, 1.45. And West Healdsburg now has joined the party. Our observer Eric up there with a running total now of 1.43 because they've been getting rain all morning long. So we get a mix of some low clouds, some sun, some partly cloudy skies, and some rain. Boy, I'll tell you, it's a mixed bag here. 40s and 50s on the temps. The moisture rotating around the powerhouse low. Look at this. Northern Napa County, Lake County, Mendocino County, and certainly Sonoma County. That has been going on all morning long, yet there's your noticeable breaks to the south. I think those will bubble up later as we get some afternoon sun. Big system in Southern California, Central California. So Tuesday afternoon showers, mix of sun clouds, and I would not be surprised if things really pop up later on. You get some brief downpours, but temperatures unseasonably cool here with 50s and 60s. All right, Sal's here, 8:31, and we are looking at where and what?
The peninsula, Steve. We have a crash on 101 at Marsh, northbound there in Menlo Park, that has affected the Dumbarton Bridge, too. And at this point, earlier I was saying, hey, you know, maybe the Dumbarton Bridge is better than the San Mateo Bridge, but now I would say it's hit and miss. 880 is also slow. And then I'm noticing that the South Bay commute is very slow. Let's dive in here. Northbound 101, 280, and 85 are all very slow. If you're driving to San Francisco, it is backed up at the Bay Bridge this morning still, beyond the maze. And remember, because of Dreamforce, we have some pretty major streets closed in the south of Market area. 8:32. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Happening today, the Dreamforce Tech Conference begins in San Francisco. Tens of thousands of people expected to pack Moscone Center for the annual event hosted by Salesforce. This year's event, though, is shrouded in controversy.
Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff, who's long been praised for his philanthropy, donating hundreds of millions of dollars towards various causes, commented about crime in San Francisco. His remarks angered several city leaders. KTVU's Devin Truby is live in the city this morning with what's been said and the impact the event will have on the city. Devin?
Yeah, good morning, Andre. A huge impact as Dreamforce is expected to bring in 47,000 people to the city. Last year's event also netted $130 million for the economic base. People from over 150 countries will be attending this event. Let's talk about those comments by CEO Mark Benioff. People were frustrated that he said President Trump should bring in the National Guard. He later posted on social media that he is proud to work with the city and the mayor, and those comments were more about resources. Salesforce then gave $1 million in order to support new officer bonuses. And that is not the only investment that they have been making to the city of San Francisco. Here to talk more about that is the Vice President of Philanthropy, Dr. Ron Smith. We want to talk about this very unique investment that you all have made to youth, the largest private investment ever to San Francisco and Oakland public schools. What can you tell me about that?
We're making a $30 million investment, and that's with our local districts and our nonprofits around the United States. And it really does say we're believing in the youth and their future. We have to understand today we have to get ready for tomorrow. So we're investing in them, we're investing in STEM and AI, educator effectiveness, and really the readiness for the workforce in the future. It's unknown, but we have to get the young people ready.
When you say AI in the classroom, what does that kind of look like?
Really thinking about how do we train our teachers, how do we give access and opportunity to the young people, how do we ensure that our district partners, specifically San Francisco and Oakland, are prepared, and we know it's ever changing. So we're not thinking about how do we get there on our own, we're thinking about how do we collaborate and how do we partner to ensure the young people and the educators have what they need.
The city itself getting $15 million over 5 years to work towards that AI incubator idea. What does that look like for the city and development?
Thinking about how can we get AI hubs across the city. You have to have access for people. If you want to have the people to be exposed, if you want to have them have the tools to be ready, for the next 5 years, we're really committed to making sure everyone's skilled up, ready and trained. As AI is evolving, we want to make sure we're matching that evolution with our work as well.
And finally, the big donation to UCSF Children's Hospital, Benioff's name there. What is that donation and what are you hoping to do with that money?
It's our continued commitment to healthcare specifically. If you think about education and healthcare, they're critical to the future. Mark Benioff and his family have been doing this for a long time. This $100 million for the UCSF Children's Hospital in Oakland will make sure that that hospital matches the commitment and the high level of service at San Francisco. And it just goes to show that not only is it the biggest employer, biggest provider for healthcare, and biggest provider for education, we really think about how can we be twofold, never stop, and give everything we can to the children and families of San Francisco.
I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, and the event will continue throughout the week here in San Francisco. Reporting live, Devin Tribute, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Devin, thank you. Time now is 8:35. Even after the release of living hostages, the return of deceased Palestinians, and plans to increase aid supplies, uncertainty looms over Gaza. This morning, Israel Defense Forces reported opening fire at several individuals approaching troop positions in northern Gaza, killing at least 6 people. Let's get some insight by turning, as we have been recently, to Kenneth Roth, visiting professor at the Princeton School for Public and International Affairs. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you for having me again.
Of course, President Trump says the war is over. There is no timeline for more high-level talks. Many key points remain unresolved, including dismantling Hamas and determining the future of Gaza's governance. What are you most closely watching for this morning?
Well, first, I think we have to begin by celebrating what did happen. You know, the return of the hostages, the release of many prisoners that Israel was holding, the genocide has stopped for the moment. The starvation is being eased, food is coming in. The Palestinians are still in Gaza, even though the Netanyahu government had hoped to ethnically cleanse them. So these are all positive things. But, you know, as you note, Hamas remains on the ground. At the moment, it seems to be operating with the Trump administration's permission, but it just killed a reported 31 people. You know, so this is a problem. The Netanyahu government is still threatening to forcibly disarm Hamas, which it has tended to do by attacking Palestinian civilians. And then, of course, the big question is, you know, what is the political future? Most people feel that the only viable solution is a Palestinian state living in peace side by side with an Israeli state. Netanyahu has devoted his entire political career to avoiding that possibility. And it's only going to happen if President Trump continues the pressure that he exerted to get this ceasefire. I hope he doesn't just stop now. This Nobel Peace Prize he wants isn't going to come from just temporarily stopping the fighting. The only long-term solution is a Palestinian state, but he's going to have to arm twist Netanyahu to get there.
Let's talk about the immediate, the day-to-day. Aid agencies say they hope to scale up aid supplies into Gaza, including food. What's happening on that front?
Well, the UN reports that the food trucks are coming in inadequately, though. We have to recognize, if you go back to, say, the temporary ceasefire last January, at that point it was widely agreed that you needed 600 trucks every day in order to feed the Palestinian people. We're nowhere near that. And so there has to be a real scaling up. The aid agencies are ready to provide that food. The question is whether Israel will open up the gates. You know, the starvation has been a deliberate product of the Netanyahu government's strategy. It's not clear that they've really abandoned that, or whether they're just, you know, allowing drips and drabs of aid in, as they have periodically in the past. So here again, U.S. pressure will be required to ensure that food is really allowed in without inhibition.
Are there leaders or countries that you think will be key in the next steps toward peace? Might there be any new faces in the mix?
Well, I wouldn't say they're new faces, but, you know, ironically, the key players are going to be the Gulf Arab leaders, you know, particularly the leaders of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. These are the ones who have been, you know, pushing Hamas to compromise with Israel. They also are the ones to whom Trump looks to finance the rebuilding of Gaza, where, you know, 92% of the houses have been destroyed by Israeli bombardment. The Arab Gulf leaders have been saying that they are, you know, willing to put a stabilization force on the ground. They're willing to finance the rebuilding of Gaza, but only if there is a clear pathway to a Palestinian state. You know, Trump hears that. He hasn't explicitly talked about it. You know, he includes it in his peace plan, but without a deadline, without any time frame. And I think we need to accelerate that process, or we risk things degenerating again and the genocidal war resuming.
All right. We are watching the situation here hour by hour. It's good to talk with you again. Kenneth Roth, visiting professor at the Princeton School for Public and International Affairs. Thank you again.
Thank you.
8:39 is your time. As Hispanic Heritage Month winds down, we continue to highlight the Hispanic and Latino influence across the Bay Area. Chef Johnny Young is a restaurateur dedicated to preserving Latin and Caribbean culture culinary roots. in San Francisco's Mission District. Now, he grew up with Asian influence, trained in French cuisine, and opened Sangria and Salt in a historic Mission Street location. He says he's committed to keeping the space's long tradition of serving Latin food and cocktails, keeping that alive despite not having that personal heritage.
This address is one of the first prohibition bars out of 1933. In coming up with the name, I was trying to pay tribute to what it was once before, and so sangria was definitely why a lot of people would come here over a pitcher of sangria.
According to the San Francisco Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, about 25% of Hispanic-owned businesses in the Mission either shut down or were sold to new owners since 2019. On top of the impact of the pandemic, leaders at the organization blame recent closures on fear of current immigration enforcement policies.
A good diversity of businesses that are no longer here. There was La Olla, there was Las Tinajas, there was a Honduran, there was a little bit of Guatemalan, Mexican, of course.
I do have a lot of compassion for what's going on right now, and I feel also honored to be here because I'm a part of like the revitalization of this neighborhood.
Well, to watch the full story and other pieces highlighting the cultural and economic contributions of the Latino community, just head to our website, ktvu.com/Hispanic Heritage Month. Well, history in action in the South Bay. From the Olympic podium to San Jose streets, how the city is honoring Tommy Smith and John Carlos for their iconic Black Power. Time now is 8:44. Some of the stories are falling for you. CHP is looking for a 15-year-old girl from Marin County who has been missing for nearly a month. An ebony alert has been issued for Elizabeth Dolman, who was last seen on September 19th in Marin City. She's described as 5'5", weighing about 160 pounds. Elizabeth was last seen wearing a black zip-up hoodie, blue jeans, and black Uggs. Anyone who's seen her is asked to call 911.
Tens of thousands of people working for Kaiser Permanente across the state and Hawaii are walking off the job today. It's part of a 5-day strike. Salaries are a main sticking point. Kaiser Permanente says it'll backfill positions to keep hospitals and clinics open through the week.
San Rafael police say officers came to the rescue of a woman who was kidnapped by 3 men she met through an app. The 3 suspects are facing kidnapping and conspiracy charges following their arrest over the weekend. Police say the victim is a sex worker who met the men in the Canal neighborhood and then willingly got into their car. The suspects then allegedly drove her to a remote area of Santa Rosa where one of them threatened her with a knife. Police say the fact that the woman is a sex worker does not have any impact on the charges in this case.
Matter. Nobody has the right to kidnap someone or falsely imprison them. If somebody doesn't want to consent to an activity, they don't have to, and people have to be respectful of that, regardless of the situation.
Police say the woman was able to escape and call 911 while dispatchers used GPS data from her phone to pinpoint her location. Officers found her as she screamed for help and arrested the suspects as they tried to drive away.
The government shutdown is expected to have an impact on the open enrollment period for Medicare, which begins tomorrow. Health experts are warning the shutdown is slowing down the federal government's ability to update its Medicare website at this critical time of year. Nearly 70 million Americans rely on Medicare for health insurance. This open enrollment period allows them to make changes to their plans until the first week of December.
If you do not make a change and you find out January 1st that that prescription is going to be costing you off the charts, or is not covered under your plan, you can't make a change until next year.
The shutdown shouldn't have an impact on current Medicare payments. Consultants are urging seniors and others to be aware of delays involving Medicare website information and reduced customer service staffing during the shutdown.
All right, 8:47 your time happening today. The Trump administration stepping up its trade war with China. A new fee has been imposed on Chinese ships docking at American ports. The White House says the docking fee is intended to counter China's dominance of commercial shipbuilding and help revitalize the U.S.'s own shipbuilding industry. It's the latest battle in the growing trade war between the world's 2 largest economies.
This is China versus the world. They have pointed a bazooka at the supply chains and the industrial base of the entire free world. And, we're not going to have it.
President Trump has already announced the U.S. will impose a 100% tariff on all products from China effective November 1st. The president says these new tariffs are in response to Beijing's decision to restrict access to its export of rare earth minerals. Those minerals are needed to make computer chips and other electronics.
San Francisco 49ers All-Pro linebacker Fred Warner will undergo season-ending surgery today to fix his ankle.
Warner dislocated and fractured his right ankle during the first quarter of Sunday's loss to Tampa Bay. Coach Kyle Shanahan says he's optimistic Warner could be back in time for the team's offseason program. Until now, Warner had missed just 1 game since being drafted by the Niners back in 2018.
The reality is we lost another really good player. But what are we going to do about it? And what type of team are we going to become going forward? And I think we have players here we can win with. But it makes it harder to make mistakes and things like that.
Coach Shanahan says rookies will need to step up for the team to get the most of their 4-2 record. In other injury updates, tight end George Kittle is expected to be back at practice this week and play on Sunday. Kittle was on IR dealing with a hamstring injury. Quarterback Brock Purdy and wide receiver Ricky Pearsall will both be evaluated on Wednesday. The 49ers hosting the Atlanta Falcons at Levi Stadium Sunday night.
Amazon is using its technology to help NFL teams prevent and predict injuries. Amazon says its digital athlete tool gathers video and data from sensors on players' pads for all 32 NFL teams. Can then use AI to track the impact taken by each player and whether they're at risk for more injuries, as well as give details on league-wide trends and injuries. NFL medical staff members calling the portal extremely beneficial to help make sure players are in the best possible shape and not overexerted.
Well, this week will mark 57 years since 2 athletes from San Jose State made their iconic Black Power salute at the 1968 Olympics. People gathered on campus yesterday to honor Tommy Smith and John Carlos for their actions. They attended panel discussions on the impact of that historic moment when the track and field medalists stood on the podium and held up their fists as a protest to the oppression of black people.
Wherever we come from, we take our history with us. And for me to identify as a D1 track and field athlete at San Jose State is to identify with the events and what occurred in Mexico City at the 1968 Olympics.
San Jose State is home to a statue honoring Smith and Carlos and that iconic pose. The city also declared October 18th as Tommy Smith and John Carlos Day in recognition of their contribution to the civil rights movement.
UC Berkeley is celebrating Professor Omar Yaghi, who was awarded the 2025 Nobel Prize in Chemistry last week. The professor shares the prize with scientists from Australia and Japan for developing metal organic frameworks. Those are porous materials that capture carbon, store gases, and pull water from desert air. Yaghi received the news while traveling to a science conference in Europe. He's the 28th UC Berkeley faculty member to receive the Nobel Prize, the 5th in just the past week. He'll split the $1 million award with two fellow scientists, says he'll likely donate a portion of his share.
8:50 now, following up on a story we brought you all morning long yesterday from Half Moon Bay. Well, a man from Santa Rosa ended up winning the World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off.
Let's see how much it weighs. 2, 3, 4, 6.
And the person who won, his name is Brandon Dawson. He took home the title with a pumpkin that tipped the scales at, get this, 2,346 pounds. Last year, I think it was a guy from Minnesota that won, so it's good we have a local. The giant pumpkin earned him a $21,000 prize. Congrats.
Time 8:51. We still have a bunch of stuff going on out there, although things are improving. Just got a new crash on Highway 4 near the Willow Pass exit, but most of the traffic is gone through there. This is a look at the Richmond Bridge. You can see that traffic is getting better. Finally, some improvement for the Bay Bridge. A little bit, not a lot, but still, it's now less than 30 minutes there. And on the San Mateo Bridge, that traffic is okay. Some people may be avoiding the Dumbarton Bridge and the peninsula because Highway 101 at Marsh Road, they're still clearing a crash. So traffic through Redwood City, Menlo Park, and Palo Alto, not great right now on 101. If you can use 280 or El Camino Real, that would be better. 8:51, let's bring Steve in with today's weather.
Sal, it's a mixed bag here. If you're south, you probably have some sun breaks or partly cloudy. If you're north, you're getting some rain, and I would not be surprised if that's the theme for most of the day. Our really strong low for mid-October. Now in Central California, Southern California, all sorts of thunderstorm watches, special weather statements or warnings in Southern California, even into Malibu. I mean, it's going to be just lit up down there. Also in the valley, it's too warm really for snow yet, unless really higher elevations. But the moisture coming back around this system counterclockwise is really pumping in a lot of cloud cover and a steady rain for some. Northern Napa County, back into Santa Rosa, Healdsburg, Lake County, parts of Mendocino County. As the low moves east and south, this line should start to dip southward to include more of Solano County, Napa, and Marin. So, I mean, there's a couple little bands kind of rotating. That's the area to watch today, more so than south because of the noticeable breaks. But because of these breaks, you know, you're going to get some lift there with the sun breaks. So I think that'll build up later today, a possibility of showers developing, thunder showers. Most of the activity, though, is no doubt about it. It's Marin County, San Pablo Bay, about Concord north, more so than south. Doesn't mean we can't get some rain south, but it's more likely to the north today. 30s up in the mountains, still a little too warm. I think tonight the colder air comes in. That will lower snow levels up in the mountains. Winter storm warning still out. This is a big, big deal down in the Central California and Southern California. There will be all sorts of flooding, flash flooding issues there. And you can see that moisture coming back in. I mean, this can paint a really wet picture as long as that low continues to kind of march a little east and south. 50s on the temps, a lot of low 40s on the peninsula this morning. They're bouncing off those, but still 40s with the sun breaks. That made a big difference. Same in the Santa Cruz Mountains as well, although we are beginning to bounce off some of those cooler lows. The low will move east over the next 24 hours, and that'll kick it out of here. But today, Southern California and the North Bay is really going to be dealing with a lot of activity. So Tuesday afternoon showers, although it's more of a light rain to the north. Light rain north and east, partly sunny, mostly cloudy with showers, thunder showers, 50s and 60s. That's it on the temps.
Steve, thank you much. 8:54 is your time. If you think your match is the one, check their zip code first. When you join us on the 9, the new dating trend that's making modern love messier.
Governor Newsom vetoed a bill that would have allowed colleges to give preference in admissions to descendants of enslaved people. It was part of a package of reparations bills, some of which the governor has signed, including creating a state reparations agency. In a statement, Governor Newsom said he vetoed the admissions bill because educational institutions already have the ability to provide such preferences.
The governor did sign a measure that could provide a lifeline for Bay Area transit agencies. The bill puts a 14-year sales tax initiative on the November 2026 ballot. It would ask voters in our region to approve a half-cent sales tax increase in 4 Bay Area counties: Alameda, Contra Costa, San Mateo, and Santa Clara. The sales tax in San Francisco County would go up a full cent. If approved, the measure would generate up to $980 million a year. Well, Apple is facing a lawsuit over how it trains its artificial intelligence. 2 neuroscience professors in New York State claim the company used their copyrighted books to train its AI. This is the second lawsuit against the company over its AI training in the last 2 months. Apple has not commented on the latest legal action. Silver prices are hitting record highs. This surge in price has been fueled by growing demand for precious metals amidst increasing market volatility. Analysts at Goldman Sachs note that silver is benefiting from the same private investment flows as gold, particularly with anticipated Federal Reserve rate cuts. Gold is also doing very well. However, some experts caution that the unpredictability of macroeconomics, politics, and finance can make gold a volatile speculative investment.
Caught on camera, people base jumping off El Capitan and Yosemite National Park during the government shutdown. The extreme sport of parachuting off fixed structures is illegal in all national parks for safety reasons. Rangers say Yosemite has turned into a Wild West of sorts for adventurers. Squatters have reportedly filled up campgrounds, and climbers are using the half-dome cables without permits. Even before most workers at Yosemite were furloughed, the National Park Service lost 24% of its permanent staff in DOJ layoffs.
We'll be right back. Mornings on 2, the 9 starts in just about 60 seconds. Remember, you can always watch us on the Fox Local app and your smart TV, and download it for your smartphone as well. Stick with us. We'll see you in just a few minutes.